Same without it.
Oh, yeah.
You want to have this airport is all like this airport.
Okay.
Do you have slides or
I'm gonna log
anything?
into
Yep. Log in, do whatever you can share. Screen.
What? What do you think?
You can share your screen unless you
Okay.
have like what you're.
You don't play.
I mean, I don't. Too old to get hurt.
Flash.
Occasional pickleball.
Usually they're really slow on the way out.
Are you gonna
As
play
soon as
with,
they turn around and they're coming back in.
Wednesday?
Yes,
Yeah, I'll be
because I'm
there.
gonna go
I'll be there.
at the pickle
I
lodge.
had every intention of being there for pickle lodge this evening class, and then I can't remember what something happened.
I was there. That's where I found out about it. And I'm like, I'll do it.
Tony comes,
It's, grew up before the
AJ grew off mortgage.
2 hours. Before.
Yeah, they pay for everything.
Some of us were trying to learn.
Or is it Thursday or Wednesday?
First Wednesday.
Wednesday.
First Wednesday. I'll text you.
Okay.
Because me and Tony are going. Every Wednesday. No, every Wednesday.
Anyway, figure out the password.
Yeah, I know what my password is. What is? Oh, that was the problem. Yeah, you should. There we go. Now it's not sure since I got it wrong.
My mom. I didn't care. I had my extravagant between surgeries and. This is like me every time I log in.
Now, the caps lock was on, and I didn't realize it. Let me just try again.
People always ask me, I'm like, oh. I played volleyball for 3 games, and I woke up the next morning. I was working. I shit out here. And I woke up to get ready. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning, and I just slept. I slept. My kids, I left foot. My wife. So I put my boot on, like my work boots, I went to work.
God, this is slow.
And hobbled around. I hobbled around work all day, concrete, whatever. Our tech CEO was a good friend of ours. So I went down there, they put me in a boot. Like 8 months. Yeah, they found my computer after like that. So then we did 14.
This computer is profoundly slow.
Yeah.
Let me do.
Is it not working?
Yeah, no, it is. I'm just trying to figure out which one of the ones I want to do here. I'll do the short one.
They cut wherever the tenant's at.
Jesus, this is slow. Do we have a clicker that works?
It will. It should.
12 days after work. And I haven't played volleyball since. Great.
Yeah, but you don't feel it's just anymore.
Am I able to share the screen first real quick?
Who's involved?
That's it.
They changed the day on us.
Thursdays now, right?
I think that crushed the public. Yeah.
Why? What happens on Thursday?
I just think some people had it in their heads that it was Wednesday, and that's when it changed. Because we only got a week's notice on it.
Oh, I see.
It was really long.
So I think I had like
Yeah.
family obligations.
Been switched.
Couldn't
All right.
switch.
Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 of us looking at their devices. So should we stop doing that and be present for class? Okay, you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. So customer experience. This is an interesting survey. You guys know that NAR does a survey every year of consumers?
Carl went over in the meeting once, it was fabulous.
It's super comprehensive. And the numbers change year to year. But this is the truth, right? 88% of buyers, when they close, if they would use the same agent again. But when they survey sellers, only 17% of sellers actually close the agent that they bought. So 88% of the time, the buyer said, yeah, use me. 12% of the time, your customer experience sucks. But, or at least it's so bad that they actually said they won't use you. But if you've got a conversion rate of only 17%, right? Less than 25, less than a quarter of the people that say they will use you actually do. That's the problem. And there's 2 reasons why they're not using you. They said they will when they close. What are those 2 reasons?
Follow up, you're not.
Yeah, you're not staying in a relationship. That about it, yeah. Maybe not necessarily a bad one, but not good enough to be memorable, right? So as humans, we like to think that we are logical in how we make decisions. Is that really what happens?
No.
Emotional.
We are emotional decision-making creatures that will then use logic to justify our emotional needs. And so if your client doesn't have an emotionally compelling experience with you, there's no emotion to drive their choice to choose you again. Does that make sense as a concept? So the battle for retaining your clients after you work so hard to get them in the first place is fought on 2 fronts. The first one is creating a really memorable, positive, emotionally charged customer experience. And then the second one is staying in relationship with them forever, or at least 10 years, because that's typically how frequently people move. Make sense as a concept? All right. So what we want to do, those are 2 different topics, right? Staying in touch with your relationship after the closing is a whole different subject now. That's 36 touch. What we want to focus on today is how do we make this a really emotionally compelling and memorable experience? And also, frankly, you want to create a great customer experience to earn the repeat business, but what's the bigger opportunity? It's the referrals. So the average American moves once every 10 years. The average American knows 5 people that move every year. So if you provide a great customer experience, if you're staying in a relationship with your database, the opportunity is actually generating more and better referrals than it is repeat business. Repeat business is nice, but that's the low hanging fruit is referrals, right? Make sense? Okay, great. So how would you guys define customer experience?
Well, you define it as 5
Communication,
stars.
5 stars. Communication to me feels like customer service. Like, what's the difference between customer service and customer experience?
How they feel. It's all about
Yeah, that's exactly right.
service.
I think customer service is like you go to Chick-fil-A and they say it's my pleasure when you say thank you. Like that's a script. That's customer service.
It doesn't change how
Doesn't change how the customer feels. I don't feel like I'm connected to the Chick-fil-A experience when they say my pleasure. That's a good way to put it. This is the these are the best 2 definitions I've ever read of customer experience. Because customer service is not enough, right? When Chick-fil-A cash register operators are saying my pleasure, like the customer service game across the American landscape has improved dramatically. So customer service is not enough to be memorable anymore. It's expected. So I like this. It's the customer's perception of all the interactions that they've had over you and the value that it creates. Why is it their perception?
Because it's them.
their reality.
Right, because their perception is their reality. The world of sales perception is reality. We're just working at different people's perceptions and potentially influencing perceptions. This next one I like even more. It's the emotions that we invoke in them and our performance against their expectations over time. It is. I love the emotions because that's what it's about. What kinds of emotions do they experience working with us? And how do we perform versus whose expectations? Theirs. To me, that second sentence nails what customer experience is about. That's the game we're playing. That's the game you play if you want to generate more referrals. You can be cute and future pace them with how to give you referrals, but ultimately, this piece has to be there. Make sense? Okay, great. Easy peasy. So, this is the righteous cycle of real estate. Right? You start somewhere. Let's say you get a lead. Someone refers something to you. This is probably where you start. You're now in relationship, right? You sign a buyer broker agreement with this to you. Customer experience earns you right after the closing to stay in relationship. Right? If your customer experience sucks, they don't want to hear it. Mediocre, they're going to get a check. Their statement. Excellent customer experience, they have positive emotions, and you exceed all their expectations during the process. You now have the right to stay in a relationship. That's what we do. So over the next 10 years, we stay in relationship, checking on how's it going, how's the house, how's the kids, do you need contractors, what are you doing for the holiday season, all that stuff, right? You ask periodically for referrals. Over time, you're going to earn those. Referral, now transfer, the trust has been transferred. It's a lot easier to sign them up and start it all over again. So this is the loop that we're trying to get ourselves in and say, Tammy is a master of this. Her entire business model is that loop right there. Tammy does a great job. You should probably teach this class, Tammy, actually.
Yeah, because she doesn't pick up the phone, her phone is ringing.
100%.
She doesn't pick it up the phone.
But Tammy,
Stay in touch.
people love you, right? You provide a great experience and you're a great connector. And then you do stay in touch in meaningful ways. So these just happen passively for Tammy constantly. And once she's referred, she crushes it. And sure, she loves doing a phenomenal job. So the person that referred her feels good about it. That's your whole business.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, to make, I want them to feel like they referred to somebody who exceeded the expectations.
100%. And they set high expectations because they're bragging on tech all the time. So you've got to bring your A game to every single client. Okay. Great. So there it is, guys. This is the most highest profit, most fun, least resistance, least competition business model in business. If you want to be as profitable as possible in your business, the least selling, this is it. This is why it's top. All right. Great. So there's another reason why we want to provide a great experience. That is because of social proof. Has anyone ever read Influence, book Influence, or anyone ever heard of social proof?
I've heard it.
What is social proof?
I think it's just like proof we get from our social people in our lives.
Yeah, basically the concept of social proof, which was introduced by Robert Cialdini. Cialdini, thank you. Have you read it?
Yeah, I read it for class at Xavier.
Okay, tell us about social proof, man.
Well, so social proof is all about like how you show up in the community and what people expect of you. Like once you start branding yourself, marketing yourself, you kind of have an image that people see you as, and then it's all about kind of displaying that, time and time again.
I think that's true. I think it goes deeper than that. I think what Cialdini was saying in his book, or in addition to that, is that when people don't know how to respond to a new environment, new culture, like all of us were new to Seven Hills at one point. And when you first show up in a new environment, as people, we kind of watch and we look to the other people around us because we're social creatures, right? We can't function independently. We need each other. What they've found, behavioralists have found, is that people will kind of remove themselves a little bit and study the group and find out what the values are and what the norms are and how to behave. They'll watch how other people react to situations within the group to understand what the priorities are. And because of that behavior of ours, oftentimes when we're making decisions, we'll look to see how other people are making the same decision to validate how we should make the decision. That's the concept of social proof on a larger scale. And so if you're wondering, well, that's stupid, I make my own decisions. Who's feeling that when I'm saying this right now? Go ahead, raise your hands. Yeah. When was the last time you bought an Amazon product without checking the reviews first? That's the power of social proof. People want to know what other people think about something before they make a decision. So if Tammy is referred by, if I am referred to Tammy by Chad, what is the first thing I do? Chad tells me, oh, Peter, if you're going to buy a house, you got to use Tammy. What's the first thing that I do?
Read the reviews.
I'm going to Google and I'm reading the reviews about her. I'm looking for social proof to inform my decision before I speak to her directly, right? That's the power of social proof. So, well, yeah, Facebook possibly, but ultimately that's another kind of social proof. So this is interesting. So I went on Zillow, and this is an agent in the market center. And if I was referred to this agent, I would probably go to Zillow or Google and look this person up. And I feel like this is a great review. I actually like this, not all 5 stars, because it means that there's some actual like credibility to it, right? Great knowledge, follow-up, and integrity. I've worked with this person for over a year. It's been a pleasure. I would fully endorse him anyway. Did you feel comfortable talking to that agent?
Yes.
Yeah. This is also from an agent in the market center. I tend to have this person represent me. I don't feel I should have to have a letter to go home because this guy's in this situation. Not this guy's selling my home. That's gonna suck every time this person refers that agent and they pull them up and see this review. Now, was our agent wrong in saying, you know what, I don't show homes without seeing approval?
No, it was not.
So, what was wrong? He did a shitty job. of
Right.
communicating. He was arrogant. He's like, I'm not gonna show you the house. Go on your side time. I'm not doing that. Right? So how did the customer feel?
Bad.
Terrible, right? Insulted. So even when you're doing the right thing, if you do it the wrong way, it can work against you. And unfortunately, negative emotions are much more powerful than positive ones. And so people are much more inclined to write negative reviews. People actually trust negative reviews a lot more than they do positive ones. So Tracy.
How long do those, just like credit report, how long do those stay up?
I mean, as long as Zillow
That's
continues to
10 years.
exist.
That was 10 years.
Yeah, I was just always curious. You
That's right.
respond to me.
That's right. Yeah, it humanizes you, right? For sure. Yeah. That's right. If you do enough sales, someone's gonna be a stinger. No doubt. Or something will go wrong that you can't control, that you didn't do a good job setting expectations about the front end. Yeah, Travis.
Actually, as far as listing, I called on Monday, didn't leave a voice message or anything. Called back Saturday and I left a message just like, sorry, your house was in the market. I'm just making sure if you're looking for help in getting it.
Yeah.
Got a 2-star food, intrusive.
You did online
Yeah.
after that.
That was like totally calm. Like, just making sure you're getting
Yeah. I think the other thing is that people are keyboard heroes, right? It's really easy for them to shit on other people when they can hide behind there. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think the stakes are a little bit higher here in terms of the experience that your customer has with you. Did you say something? Emily?
I was just smiling at her. She was talking.
I just said, okay, he's still cute.
We're still cute. Fair enough. Okay. So providing a great customer experience ultimately yields more positive reviews, which is a tool, right? It's a way to garner more business. It's a way to increase your credibility with new prospective clients. So if you guys know me, I like to systemize everything. And I like to have a process that's predictable for everything. So how do we systemize this? I think ultimately a great business is nothing more than consistent running of a bunch of systems that have a proven result. That's really what we're all here trying to do, is find out how do we systemize. What are the systems that we want to consistently run? Or we just call it playbooks. What are the plays we want to run every single day that consistently yield a desired result for us? That's really all a business is. I think an exceptional business is just one that consistently applies great systems with talented people. So there are two primary systems to create a superior customer experience. The first one is your communication systems. And I think the second one is creating what we call a +1 opportunity. There's a book called Raving Fans, and that one is by Ken Blanchard. Super easy, you can read it in a weekend. It's like 100 pages, small book. And it's basically a story about how this gets like a parable about how this guy creates raving fans for his business. Great, super easy read. It's easy, it's inspiring. We read it as a sales team, and then we basically tore our entire company apart, rebuilt it from the consumer's experience. We did that back in 2016. And it's made a huge difference. We are 28 reviews away from 2,000 5-star reviews since we made that change. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So I'm just going to give you guys some really simple skills instead of just being sort of theory based. Let's get into some actual skills. The first one is the rule of 3. My first big boy job in corporate America, the first training I ever went to was how to give a PowerPoint presentation. And the teacher said, look, here's all you need to know. You tell the people what you're going to tell them. You tell them, and then you tell them what you just told them. And that's how you give a good PowerPoint presentation. It's the rule of 3. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So here's the rule of 3. What you have to understand is this. The 5 most stressful things in a person's life are birth, death, marriage, divorce, and moving. And moving is typically triggered by one of those other 4 or a major change in your finances. So just recognize your client from the day you talk to them is at DEFCON 1, right? Tracy gets that's an 80s reference. So they're at a super elevated emotional level, which means they're agitated easily and they're anxious. And so if you want to win with them, one of the things we have to understand is this is one of the most stressful moments in their life. It's also one of the biggest financial decisions of their life. Chad's got to close it because he's the top producer. So Chad, you go close on that house. Yeah, come back. Where was I going with this? So they have almost no control over the super emotional moment, right? And so we have to recognize they have no control, and their only lifeline to what's going on is who?
You.
Yeah, we are in control of one of the most stressful and expensive transitions in their life. So we got to understand that what's normal for us and routine, and just an hour or 2 wait for them is like an eternity and super stressful. So what we want to do, anytime we get on the phone with them, and there's an event, we got to tell them what we're going to do, and then we do it. Now, do we all do that? Do we all keep our word and do it? Please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Great. And then what happens? You get a phone call on another deal, and there's an inspection issue. Maybe there's an appraisal thing, or a lead comes in, or someone brought free donuts to the office meeting, and then you go and do that thing. But what did you forget to do?
Well, you did it.
You forgot to close the loop with your client. I was guilty of this constantly. Because I'd be like, I got it, let me take care of it. I take care of it, and I go on to my next thing. And they're sitting there 3 hours later wondering if it's been taken care of. So literally, one of the easiest things you can do to dramatically improve your customers' perception of your value over time is close the loop. Tell them what happened, specifically what happens next. Well, I'll explain why that last part matters in a second. Questions about this? This is really basic stuff, right? Yeah, go ahead. I love that. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Well, it depends. Somebody said it depends. What matters is actually what you're doing, setting the expectation about when you will close the loop with them. So if you say, if it's something silly, not silly, if it's something you quickly resolve, it's 9 a.m., you just say, okay, I'm on this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll circle back with you before noon. Right? And even if you don't have the result yet, what do?
Circle back.
You circle back before noon. That's all this is. I remember, who's been married or divorced? Or both. So my first 2 years of marriage were brutal. And the reason why was, in retrospect, we really struggled. And I think in retrospect, it was because each of us brought unspoken expectations about what the other person was supposed to do and how they were supposed to show up as a married couple. Just from programming, right? From our parents and TV and the movies and whatever else, our own personal experience. But we never shared those expectations ahead of time. So there was this constant loop of unmet expectations between both of us and how we were showing up in our marriage. Well, that translates to everything in life. And we all, almost all of us, almost all the time, walk into every circumstance with an expectation, right? And when that expectation isn't met, are we happy or are we sad? Yeah, we're disappointed, right? And so actually, I believe the Jedi level skill set in real estate is you're actually playing a game of expectation setting. And the sales and the influence just happens after. So great customer experience is about setting expectations that you know you can meet or exceed. Because I'm trying to get ahead of myself. It's the emotions that we evoke and our performance against their expectations. True story. In 2017, before the market was mega crazy, the last one I sold. It's a house full of weed and crush. 5 offers. That's not 5 offers. I negotiated no inspection, no appraisal, tax bill with free lease back. I know that's not a big deal in 2022, but back in unheard of. 5 offers, $30,000 over asking price. And as soon as we done the paperwork, my client was and would not respond to anything. All we could do is we closed, and it was weird to close the table. Something really went wrong. At this, no inspection, like a multiple offers, $3,000 for us. Expectation, unspoken expectation. And shame on me.
Realistic.
I don't know, maybe in California with their crazy West Coast.
But he was unrealistic because in California, that's a common 100,000. It's his.
It's mine, because I didn't understand what a great transaction looked like. I did not flush out what his expectations were.
Well,
I can't win. If he tells me winning is $60,000, I have to say, I don't want you listening. Or that's awesome, it's California. Let's look at the economy of Cincinnati. Winning most of this.
Right.
So shame on me, because I didn't flush out his expectations for the transactions. I should have gotten. Well, then it's my job to educate him. And if he still that's what it's about, well, then I have a choice. The deal was done. He was unhappy.
Peter,
Yeah.
2020 hindsight, how would you have had that conversation to unearth
Well,
that info?
Yeah, I mean, now at a listing, at the beginning of a listing appointment, we're reading on our pre-call, we'll just say like, what does a win look like for you selling your house? Or the other language we always use now is, tell me your understanding of market. What's your understanding of market? And some people know exactly what's going on and you don't have to spend time educating. And sometimes they have no fucking clue. And you gotta like slow down and pull out the numbers and show them what the market's about. Spend 15 more minutes there. All right, good. Keep going. Yeah, so one of our questions that we ask buyers and sellers now, kind of as a lead-in, is so what's your understanding of the market right now? Tell me what you know about the market. You know, with buyers, like up until the market shifted about, depends on what markets you operate in. They would say something like, well, we know it's going fast, we know we're going to have to be in multiples, and we know we're going to have to do appraisal gap and right over asking price. Awesome. And other people are like, well, I expect to get a deal. Okay, well, let's talk about that. What does a deal look like? And we're going to explore. If we can't change our expectations to get in line with market, then we're probably not. Because who wants to wear the buyer that wants a deal in 2022, 2023? Right. What matters is that we're taking time to understand what their expectation is. Because hang on one second. Because there's other, well, I'm saying the same thing in a different way. A lot of times we're so anxious to sign a contract that we really don't flesh out their expectations. And then, have you ever had a client where you've lost control? You've lost the right to lead the relationship. They don't, you've lost your credibility with them and they don't listen to you and they're not really responsive, but you've got their listing and you're like stuck together. I'm the only person that's ever had that. Yeah. Typically, it's because they expected you to do something that you didn't, or that you did something that they expected you wouldn't. And it happened 1 or 2 or 3 times too many, and they finally had just written you off and they're stuck with you and they're not following your lead anymore. Adrian.
By asking those questions up front, I think that that is very helpful, because then when you go back to have that conversation and things aren't going well, you can, have that same conversation with them that you already talked to them about.
Yeah, you're framing the context of their experience with you. And if you don't frame it, now you're hosed, because now you're trying to win with somebody who hasn't told you what the rules are yet. Yeah, it's the start of the marriage. 100%.
That's why people do premarital.
Yeah, ours didn't help.
I mean, it's really helpful, because it's absolutely that, and it's still a mess, even if you do premarital. It's still,
At least you have a like tool to talk to about it. Yeah, that's right. So this is a lead in, I think, to the next slide. Let's see. Let me come back to the slide. So is everyone just a rule break? This is a game changer. When you follow up with those leads, especially if you tell them to follow up on and follow up on or before that time, huge difference. And that introduces kind of the concept of the trust factor, which is really about expectations. I think ultimately, consumers will work with the first agent that they trust. That's really the key. I think that that's the last. So they need to really trust you. And there's 2 ways that consumers trust. You're going to trust the person who's taking care of and have professional job. Like the job being a real estate agent, those are the 2 questions you're actually answering. Everything else is just really to be distilled to, does this person care about, does this agent care about me? That's really what this is about. The full listing presentation, the buyer consultation, that's really the questions. In Once they believe they can trust you personally and professionally, they sign up for the agreement, right? But that was just enough to get the job. There's another level of trust that you have to earn to lead them through the process, especially with sellers, but buyers as well. And when you have lost somebody's trust, that's when you have lost your ability to lead your agent and you're held hostage, because we've all been there at some point if we've done enough real estate sales. So this whole game in real estate, I believe, is about setting expectations that you can meet or exceed. And the best way to, the single easiest way to create a better customer experience is by setting expectations that you can meet or exceed. Remember I said it's their perception of your value and your ability to meet or exceed their expectations over time. Well, if that's the case, then we need to set the expectations. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So here it is. Here's the hack. Set expectations that you can meet or exceed. I know it's really complicated. That's it. So if you know you can call them back on it before 12, tell them you call them by 12. And the thing is, like, every time you set an expectation and then meet or exceed it, you get a little deposit in the trust bank. And the more deposits that you have in that trust bank, the more people are willing to follow your lead in the relationship. The more they follow your lead, the easier it is for you to do the best job possible. Fair statement?
It still sounds like a marriage.
Yeah.
Here, I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
It's always nice to close the loop, but I will tell you the number one thing I heard when I was in management is I never hear from my agent. So you don't have to just answer a question that they might have to close a loop.
Yeah.
You need to keep in touch for no reason other than to say, hey, I'm checking in. I just sent you, a synopsis of the market. There are now 15 houses in your side and none of them have gone pending, just touch base with, always touch base.
100%.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I'm sure that was intuitive for you. For me, I had more of the hard way. So back in like 2015, at that point in time, I was selling over 100 houses a year. And I hated talking to my clients. Hated it. Hated it. I just wanted to find the next client or do the next deal or recruit somebody. And we started collecting feedback. We were starting doing the surveys, and I was getting 2.5 stars average. And people said I was like amazing at the list at the kitchen table, right? Super inspiring, and they were excited to work with me, and I was so competent and all this crap. And then they would never hear from me until there was an offer, and then they wouldn't see me ever again because I didn't go to my closings. So I started setting up a weekly phone call with them, whether there was nothing to say or not. We still had that phone call, and that was a huge, huge game changer.
Especially now, since the market in a lot of areas is very slow.
Yeah,
and
sellers especially. Yeah.
And they're like wondering, why is my house sitting?
Yeah. Yes, and if the house isn't sitting and you haven't talked to them in 6 weeks, then you call and ask for price reduction. What are they going to say? Yeah, what have you done for me lately? But if you're calling them every single week, then it's just a 10-minute conversation, right? You share with them some market statistics, you share with them some exposure statistics, you ask them how they're feeling about the process, give the feedback, set some expectations about when you should see an offer. When you do ask for that price reduction a couple weeks later, like, they get it, right? Because they're up to speed with what's going on with their house and the market. You gotta give them context to understand their experience. Right? Great point. Thank you, Jenna.
And if you pick a day of the week, I mean, for those that are challenged, I mean, you just say every Tuesday in the morning, that's what I'm gonna do.
After Lee, Jen.
It's also important to ask some, I'm discovering that, like, it's timing on what you ask for.
Yes, but I don't think that's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that to stay in sync where you're always touching base once a week with your clients, pick a day and do it after Legion or the same day or same time that day.
I call from my car every single day, every single time I'm in the car. I'm calling somebody that's on my list or texting them, checking in, just seeing how you're doing. Are you getting acclimated? Blah, blah. I stopped by the house today. to check on it, just make sure everything was okay. Your neighbor's grass is a foot high, I'm going to call and turn them in. Because I think that's having an impact on our sale. I mean,
It all depends on your personal
Yeah.
life and your schedule.
yeah, for me, I'm in the car a lot, so I call from the car a lot.
That makes sense. Tammy's more mobile, I'm more structured, so I just have 2 hour window where I hammer through like 25 phone calls.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would you ever not take a listing because you cannot, meet the seller's expectations? Cause I just did that the first time. And I think I was right, because she got a discount brokerage to do it, and it's been sitting there for a couple months now, and she's dropped the price
She'll probably come back.
several times.
Yeah.
But that was hard, because I'm like, there were some things I was gonna agree with her on, but then it was just too much, and then I told her, I just couldn't do it. So that's the first time I ever did that, but I'm glad, because I see that I was right, but it was a hard decision.
Totally.
Sure.
Well, and let's say if you take it, what would have happened? You would have spent some money on photography. You would have babysitted somebody that was completely unhappy because you couldn't meet their expectations, and you ran the risk of them possibly writing a shitty review about you. Plus, there's the data in the MLS that you couldn't sell a house.
Right,
So you made the right decision.
yes. That was a hard.
Two years.
And she has a horrible review from the client. I said, what was it worth? She said, well, it's a I said, oh my God. Why did you take this?
$250,000 over.
Why would you do that?
Taking on a dead corpse.
So it's supposed to be to me.
Well, she learned a lesson, didn't she? So here's the deal, guys. Is it true that in real estate sometimes things don't work out right in a transaction? When there are crises, this is where all those micro deposits in the trust bank come to serve you. If you call them back before 12, if you have the photographer show up on time, if you, whatever the thing was that you did for them, when you told them you're going to do it, and then followed up and did it before it was done. Every time you do that, you're earning their trust, earning a little bit more influence with them to lead them. So that when shit does hit the fan, you've got some equity in that relationship that you can draw against to maintain that leadership position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like I always feel like the tail end of the transaction to me sometimes from inspections to closing tends to be a little bit iffy. Financing, vendors, to me, the first part leading up to that is always smooth sailing in my transactions. So I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. How are you transitioning them? Like you just said.
Well, I think, as Tammy says, even if there's nothing going on, still check in with your buyers once a week. How's it going? How you feeling? You getting packed? Is that what you mean?
No, what I'm saying is like during a transaction,
Uh-huh.
like typically to me, things start getting more intense and more emotional once we get in the transaction and the closing. Like that's when I'll see more animosity or upset. And the beginning part being up to like we got them under contract. We're working with inspectors and everything's smooth sailing. It's that lost edge that to me is always is just negative emotion.
Negative emotions towards who?
The
Towards you?
I like
Can I coach you for just a second? I would just call some people where you felt yucky energy at the end, where enough time has passed that they're neutral. And just say, I was in a class about customer experience. I got the sense that you weren't happy with my experience towards the transaction. I'm looking for some feedback of where I can improve. What was your experience with me? And you have my permission to speak directly. I'm not going to attack you or defend myself. I just want to understand what your experience was.
Well, ironically, you guys always come back around.
Okay.
They call me back and go, I know I was super emotional and you were a great agent. But in that point in time, I want to ask you another time to ask.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about when to ask for reviews.
So I guess that's one.
Well, here's what I might say, because when you're a Jedi at real estate, it's all about doing what? Setting expectations. So I might just say during your buyer consultation, here are the various stages. Here's what's going to happen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. You're more likely than not going to start feeling acute levels of stress as you start moving towards the closing and ultimately moving your home. This is natural. You may even feel like you want to lash out at me or something like that. So if there's anything that isn't working out, don't suffer in silence, because I know this is a stressful time. Give me a buzz, and if I can help you out with whatever it is, I'm happy to do so.
And I think that's when you have to hold their hand. Right. Even if you don't want to, and you need to take that negative stuff out of your brain and just hold their hand through that part. Well,
Of course.
Of course. The fixer. You're the fixer.
So you're talking about even, I think, when it's like, it can be the title company, it can be the lender. I think she's talking about here when that.
Yeah.
When
And
it
just
gets to
delivering
the
bad news.
point,
And hold their hand.
she doesn't have control.
Okay.
That's where she's at.
So here's the deal, and I don't think you'll like my answer, but it's your fault. You are the quarterback. Our job is to basically lead and organize all the other skilled players on the field. Your job is to coordinate the title company, and the loan officer, and the appraiser, and the home inspector, and the handyman. You're the source of all those additional resources. You're the one ultimately responsible for people to refer. And I hate to say this, but like, you should be in touch with the title company, making sure that they're not dropping the ball on that title search or clearing that cloud prior to closing. That's our job. We don't do the things, we coordinate the people to do the things. And if that's not right, yeah, it's our responsibility. That's what they hired us for, is to coordinate all of their people. We're the generalists that manage all the experts. So I'm not picking on you, Celeste. I'm speaking about us generally. Like, if that's the case, then like our checklist, remember I said a great business is a set of systems that are consistently applied that deliver a predictable result. What is your system to manage the title company, make sure they're on pace? What is your system to make sure that the lender is getting the appraisal ordered out on time? What is your system to make sure you're checking in with your client 2 days before closing when they're at DEFCON 1? Like, all of that is part of a great system. This business is hard. And no one understands how much we earn the money that we make until you're on the inside. They go, oh, yeah, I know. It's a good gig.
It is.
And it's also, of course, very rewarding and very lucrative. But we have to learn how to behave in ways that are not intuitive to us. All of us. We have parts of our behavioral style that are not intuitive to parts of this business. Celeste, you're so warm, and you're so friendly, and you're so competent, and probably systematically setting some expectations and checking in on some of the other vendors that are doing their job may not come naturally to you. Just like me being warm at the kitchen table was not my natural behavior. But all of us are going to have to learn to operate outside of our natural behavior if we want a business, if we want a career that functions like a business. That's exactly right. Question or observation? Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The other thing is too, when you get delivered bad news, I'm always plan B. I always have a plan B. I'm never without a plan B. So if I get bad news, depending on what it is, I'm going to have a solution to that, so that when I do talk to my client, here's what happened, here's what we're going to do. Plan B.
Hold that thought, because I want to dig deeper when we get there. Okay, so everyone just understand the way that you generate more trust, more influence is through Trust Bank is by setting and exceeding like micro expectations that you set, right? Say yes. It's a really important concept because the shit will hit the fan. Okay, here's the single greatest script in real estate for customer experience. At the end of every conversation, you tell your client this. Here's what's going to happen next. Why is that so powerful? What are you doing?
Setting expectations.
Yeah, you're setting the expectation. If you say, here's what's going to happen next, I'm going to email you a copy of the contract and I'm going to copy my transaction coordinator and she is going to give you a follow-up email with all the contract deadlines the next 2 business days. And then that happens. How awesome do I look?
Awesome.
Right? So here's what happens next. Doesn't let them go to crazy town on what they think should happen next. You're going to control for them what they think is going to happen next because it's going to be something that you can control and make sure happens next. So I'm sorry, let's do this. Yep. So they don't need.
So how's that possible?
So you have your system. Great. Too much information. Oh, I know. That's right. Yes, for you specifically. Yeah. So are you complaining or are you just saying? I think both. I mean, look, one time in my 22 years of sales and my literally thousands of transactions, once have I had a client say, you're communicating with me too much. Once. Over literally thousands of clients. I don't think it's a problem. Send the email, put the I would even send them a calendar invite with a notification that reminds them 2 days before, 3 days before, 1 day before. 100%. That's a great system. I actually like that calendar invite idea because then what else can you do? It's like a freaking calendar, right? And the email reminders. Okay, so this is the killer one. When I learned this, it was funny. So I should have followed myself a little bit. So I was one of the contributors to the Keller Williams University Customer Experience class, and I also wrote the MAPS Customer Experience group coaching program. And when I was doing my research for this, I went and shadowed Chris. He was the CEO of Keller Williams for like a minute. Chris, oh my God, I can't remember his last name. For KW. Chris, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he had this great sales team in San Diego, and they did luxury work. And the first thing anybody at the company learned was a script. And the script was this. Here's what's going to happen next. That was the very first thing anybody ever learned at this company because he felt so strongly about setting the right Chris Heller, thank you. Chris Heller, yeah. This was it. This is the first script they learned at this company. And it's so simple, right? Here's what's going to happen next. Also, by the way, you sound badass when you say that. All right. They don't know. 100%. It's so powerful. Do it.
Gives them peace.
Confidence and some calm. That's exactly right. Yeah. Travis.
Actually, still left years ago.
Great.
Never had to worry about them like not knowing what's going on. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because their minds are going to run and they're going to go on YouTube or they're going to go on chat. They might have some crazy ass expectations set by somebody they don't know that doesn't understand the process or our market. So like, just tell them, here's what happens next. Okay. Oh, looks like I've got them backwards. That was supposed to come in first. Oh, well. So what's next? Okay, so we talked about this. So here's where you set expectations and continue to earn trust. Great. This is all backwards too. All right. So what's the +1? In the book Raving Fans, Ken Blanchard talks about the concept of +1. And the +1 is doing something delightful in an unexpected way for your client. Said another way, our goal during this process when we're working with our clients is for them to feel emotionally connected to the experience of working with us, right? So yes, meeting and exceeding expectations is great. It builds trust. They're amazed by how awesome you are. But that awesome, that emotional binding moment to your experience is done with +1, is best achieved +1. And that's just delighting your customer in an unexpected way. So a +1 can be systemized, but a +1 is best when it's customized. So for example, the Chabris group, when our clients are selling their house with us and they close, we've taken the best of their MLS photos and we've put them just in a little lookbook. And so we slide it over to them, wrapped up at closing, and just say, hey, this is kind of a bookend for you in a chapter of your life. We just thought we would like memorialize that for you. And about 50% of the time we get tears. Yeah, it's really cool. Emotionally bonding, right? I don't want to make it sound transactional because it's a special moment. You hug it out, everyone's crying, it's beautiful. And it's a powerful +1 because it really remember that, right? So that's a systemized +1. But the best ones are customized. And that's where you really get to know your client and you are able to do something for them that's special. Not necessarily expensive, but meaningful, because meaningful doesn't mean expensive, right? Those lookbooks cost $21, I think, on Walgreens.com. We order so many of them, it's like $20. So, and it's powerful. So some examples. This guy that was listing specialist for us back in 2016. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, man. Go get it. So this guy is listing agent with us, and he was a veteran, and his client had lost her husband. She had a condo, and she needed to be at $350,000. They started like 400, and we knew it had to be below 350. She wanted to sell because she lost her husband. Her husband had PTSD, and she wanted to go volunteer for this organization in Texas that trained dogs to help veterans with PTSD. That was going to be her purpose after losing her husband. Cool, right? And she just had this mental block. She couldn't get to 350, and we all knew that's where she needed to be to make the sale happen. And she was just emotionally committed and locked up around 365 or something. I don't remember. And so at that point in time, there was a movie called Max. I don't know if you guys remember. It's about a German Shepherd or something. So it was a dog that had PTSD from a war, and he wound up bonding with some kid who had some emotional issues, and the two kind of heal each other. So that movie was coming out at the time, and she was at an impasse with our listing agent. So he went to AMC or whatever it was. He bought a gift certificate for 2 tickets, a large popcorn, and 2 Cokes. And just went in her house and was like, hey, I just want you to have this. This movie came out. I thought it would be meaningful for you. I know the biggest priority in your life is to get down to support this organization. And I thought that this would be just kind of a nice connection to it. And of course, she burst out in tears, went and saw the movie, and they reduced the price, and then they got it sold.
Because he's reminding her of her motivation.
100%.
Yes, and he was saying to her, like, I see you, I understand what you're about, and I understand this is a moment in time to for you. Like, this is how I can celebrate who you are.
So that's a super powerful +1. It costs you maybe $30.
That's cool.
Right? So it's always great if you can customize, but if not, at least have your systemized ready. Make sense as a concept?
Okay.
Tammy, you probably do a great job of this. Could you share a +1 that you've done for one of your clients? Not to
You
put you on
know,
the spot.
I kind of do all the same sort of thing.
Okay.
It just depends on what I think they would like, you know. For my first time home buyers, I used to go to Home Depot and put together a toolbox
That's cool.
with, you know, things that they don't have,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. And
That's a
this
great
was,
one.
this was a little more extravagant, but I sold a house, and at the house, they had a lawnmower, a weed whacker, a blower, a shovel, a rake, and a wheelbarrow. And the guy's like, I don't really want it, you know, will your buyer give me a couple $100 for it?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want it, I'm gonna hire somebody. And I'm like, do you care if I buy it? And so I bought it.
Okay.
And then, I bought it, and then I had newlyweds buying their first house, and I gave them the lawnmower, the weed whacker, and the blower, and all that stuff. And they came over, picked it up this weekend, and, you know, they were like thrilled to death.
That's so
Thrilled
fun.
to death.
That's awesome.
So, you know, I mean, it just depends. You know.
And by the way, do they love you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a really weird thing.
Yeah.
So this was a referral from a Kentucky agent that I didn't know from Adam. He
Okay.
I don't even know why he called. I mean, he just looked me up and he called out of the blue. Didn't know me for anything. And he said, I'm interviewing agents and I, saw your website and I just want to talk to you. So he talks to me. He's like, I'm going to recommend you because you're by far the most knowledgeable and I like you. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
he refers his sister and fiance to me and I talk to them and darling and we get chatty and I said, can I get your phone number and your email addresses and blah, blah, blah. And his last name clicked and I'm like, are you related to Frank? And he's like, yeah, it's my aunt, my grandpa. I'm like, oh my gosh, I worked with your aunt and I used to go to the tree farm that your grandpa owned. And so a small world,
Yeah.
not even knowing, and it was his fiance, and I didn't know her, but I knew the husband to be. And yeah, and his dad came with him and they picked up everything. He's like, I remember you. I'm like, great. It was like, what a small world. You
That's
just
great.
never know.
Love it.
You never know.
Now, if you made your phone calls, you would have been referred to them anyway without having to do a referral.
Well, I didn't know them.
Oh, okay,
I
got it.
didn't know them. I just knew the last name. When he said his last name, I'm like, I know somebody with that last name.
That's really funny.
And they happen to be related.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody understand the concept of the plus one? I would suggest you find a cost-effective way to systemize it, but always look for the customized one. That's like one of the best ways to make an emotional connection with the client. Okay, when shit hits the fan. Sorry, when things go wrong. The first thing you need to do when things go wrong is to have made lots of deposits in the trust bank prior to this point. So the equity is there to draw again, so you can stay in the leadership role. If you don't have a ton of trust and shit hits the fan and you don't have influence for your clients, now you're in trouble and that puts you in real estate jail or at least like litigation or yucky phone calls from the state or your broker. I've been there. It's not very fun. So this is the sixth step. Also, if you're taking a picture of this, it might be good to print it and put it like above your vanity, because this works really well with spouses also. So the first thing you do is not stick your head in the sand. The first thing you do is you run straight at the problem, as yucky as that feeling is in the pit of your stomach. Yeah, you got to run straight at it. Yep, run straight at the storm. And then have you ever had somebody furious in your life? Can you solve the problem immediately? No, you got to let them emote, right? You got to meet them where they are. And so the only way to disarm an angry client or an angry realtor or whatever is to just listen. Because if you don't listen, they're just going to shout louder, hoping that you'll hear them the second time around. So you got to listen. Just take a breath, listen. And as they are venting and you're asking clarifying questions, you have to validate how they're feeling. Because they're not going to listen to your solution until number one, they know they listen. Number two, they feel validated how they're feeling. This is just a human fact in all relationships. Now, you can validate without accepting culpability. If they think something is your fault and it's not, don't say, yes, that's my fault. You do say, I understand how you can feel that way. I would be frustrated too, without actually assuming culpability, unless you fucked up, in which case take responsibility for what you did. And while you may not have been the reason why something went wrong, indirectly you are, because we're the quarterbacks. So you've got to take responsibility for this situation. And if you don't, and you try and pawn it off onto other people, what does that make you look like?
A weenie.
Yeah, you look like a weenie. They want someone to take responsibility for the mess, fix it. That's your job. That's our jobs, excuse me. So once you've apologized and taken responsibility where it's appropriate, either directly or indirectly, unless like this is a potential like litigation issue, in which case don't do that. Unless it is your responsibility. Then you got to commit to a solution. And this is where Tammy's talking about plan B, right? So what does that look like, Tammy, when that happens?
Well, I've been doing this for a really long time, so it depends on what it is, you know, if it's, well, a good example was a Kentucky list or a Kentucky deal that I had. The appraisal went out, appraiser went out, he appraised it, it was great, and they ran it through the AI automated
Yeah.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and they said, oh, that's 40,000 overpriced.
Huh.
And so that lender said, we're dead in the water, we can't do anything. Hello, client.
Yeah.
And I had already called my other lender. I'm like, can you take care of this? Can you do this? Can you
Love
fix this? What can you do?
Yeah.
And switched him over to there, and we did close 8 days later.
Yep.
But we did get it done.
So you have your plan B ready before you communicate with your clients.
Most of the time,
I
not
love
always. I won't say always, but I do try to go with the problem and here's my solution.
Yeah.
Even if the solution's just in my head.
Yes.
And I haven't like talked to people,
Yeah.
but when that whole AI thing came up, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is this new? Like, what is this? And so I had to call the lender and make sure I wasn't gonna go down that rabbit hole again
Right.
with the same
The
problem.
second one, they did
And we
AI.
did, we did have that same problem.
Really.
So the lender paid for the third appraisal and it came in at value again and we closed.
Fascinating.
So it worked. But-
So the point is,
After you've taken responsibility and listened and validated, come up with a plan, right? And here's what's gonna happen next. I'm going to do these things. I am going to follow up with you no later than this time. Follow up with it. Like an hour before no later than that. Yeah, right, get right back to exceeding expectations and making sure you stay in that trust. You should just defend that you no longer have a leadership position with client control. Right?
Yep.
So,
start delivering ahead of time. Even if it's, I don't have an update. I know I told us to play by 12. I don't have an update yet. I just want to check in, let you know where we are. Here's what I'm going to do next. Here's when you can expect to hear from me again. Make sense? I think we're almost done. Yeah, that's it. Okay, questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? No? It was a micro class. Okay.
Really good.
All right, well, thanks guys for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Peter, I think that some advice on something.
Yeah.
So I had, now this, so I sold a property that the gentleman that purchased it was going to purchase for, to turn into an Airbnb.
Okay.
I've never dealt with Airbnb
Okay.
before. I did know a property management group that I connected him with.
Okay, great.
So now deal's done, everything went great. I called it, checked it with the property management group to see how things are going. He said, well, we're doing some repairs and some different things. I said, I guess he's up to about almost $20,000 and repairs. And I was like, why? Because he didn't ask for anything on his inspections.
Yeah.
And he said, well, did you notice that the back room smelled like animals? I guess they had animals. I said, well, the inspector did some kind of a test. I haven't written down the name of the test
Yeah.
because of the quality of the air or something. But I said, no, he didn't ask for anything. So I'm sitting here thinking now, I'm like, I guess that doesn't look good. I think that he's in this person that purchased his house is an NBA player. So I'm wondering if my connection, because he knew that, was just, I don't know, just sitting here thinking, man, that doesn't
Is
look
your
good.
concern that you didn't represent him correctly?
My concern is giving him, I'm introducing him to the property management company that could have taken advantage of the situation that he's a ball player and thinking that he has money and charging him $20,000 for repairs
Oh, I
that
see.
possibly could have been corrected during inspections. But I don't know. It's just like, it's a weird feeling.
Can you talk to us?
I tried to call him, but he is in practice, like, because he's NBA, but
Season just started.
yeah. So, but sitting here listening to some of this, I'm like, man. And I kind of felt that feeling too when he told me he's charging almost 20,000 in repairs.
Call him and ask him. Send him a text. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
How's the interview going? How's it going working with
Property management company for some feedback.
That's the question to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question, because it just makes me feel like, dang, why is he haven't him before? And is that what property management companies do when he says he's got to get it ready for the Airbnb? So then I was talking to someone else about this, and they said, oh yeah, if you know that you're gonna be selling a property that's gonna be turned into an Airbnb, you need to let the inspector know that, so, because they look for different things when they're gonna put right back on the market for Airbnb.
That's not true. If the inspector is there to make sure the house functions correctly, it's the buyer's responsibility as investor to determine what makes it rentable or not for Airbnb.
Okay.
Now, the buyer could bring the property management company in during the inspection contingency period and say, put your leasing goggles on. What do I need to do to make this rentable?
Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Because I think there may be more of those things I'm gonna be dealing with, and I want to make
Yeah.
sure I have a reputable, good, at least property management company.
100%. Yeah, you want a property management company that's going to give constructive feedback on what needs to be done without overspending, right?
Yes.
And your buyer would want to know that prior to making the purchase, because it could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 more, depending on the condition of the home.
And it looked like a great house to me, and the inspection report didn't look so bad to me, but
Well, you don't know. Ask them for some feedback. How's it going? What do you think about the property?
I just want to throw that up there because just a little weird about.
If you
Now I-
feel weird, trust your gut. Something's not
I
right.
was like, look, we should have spent $20,000.
Yeah, I think it's right to check in. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So